Hello children, how are you? Hope you are fine and enjoying the class. So today we shall be taking the another part of heterotropic mode of nutrition under life process in your biology part of 10th NCERT syllabus. Under this we are taking up today the subtopic holozoic nutrition in human or in man, human being. We have seen in previous class the holozoic mode of nutrition in case of amoeba or paramecium. Same way here also in case of human being, the holozoic mode of nutrition is being completed under how many steps? Can you remember? Last class we have discussed under 5 steps. What are the 5 steps? Number 1, ingestion. Number 2, digestion. Number 3, absorption. Number 4, assimilation. And number 5, egestion or removal of waste removal. Human beings are very highly developed multicellular animal where we have specialized part for doing all this specialized set of functions. So, if I show you an overall structure of human alimentary canal, starting from elementary canal starts from mouth cavity. Hi, I can show you here what are the associate structures are there in the mouth cavity. If I open my mouth, see. So the mouth cavity is having a upper and lower jaw covered, 2 sets of teeth, upper teeth and lower teeth, with a muscular tongue and the accessory parts which are helping for mastication of food. So if I draw a simple way, the mouth cavity through which we are taking the food inside our buccal cavity or mouth cavity. This is the mouth cavity where we are taking the food. So this process of this step of taking food within the mouth cavity or the buccal cavity, what we call as ingestion. Once the food is put inside the mouth cavity or buccal cavity, the process of ingestion is completed. Now the buccal cavity is having the floor of buccal cavity which is having articulation with a muscular tongue and upper and lower sets of teeth. We are having 4 different types of teeth which you have read somewhere in junior classes. Incisor, canine, premolar and molar, cutting, grinding, chewing and biting type of teeth. These 4 different types of teeth helps to properly grind the food, mastication. So after ingestion of food, next coming to digestion. Number 2 is digestion. Digestion again are of 2 types: physical digestion and chemical digestion. Physical digestion mean the food particle which we take within our mouth cavity or in other part of the alimentary canal where they are properly grinded just like a grinding machine, grinded properly and converted into very small pieces. This first part of physical digestion takes place within our mouth cavity by the help of teeth, and tongue here functions to nurture, to turn up the food so that the bigger particle can go down, smaller particle come up, and vice versa, and teeth get a chance to grind the bigger particle. And while doing so, watery juice mixes with the food material. What is that watery juice? Where from it is coming? We are having 3 pairs of gland. What are those? These are parotid, sublingual and submaxillary or submandibular. I will show you a clipping here. This is the alimentary canal. I will take up the individual parts. This is overall alimentary canal starting from the mouth ends to the anus. In between so many parts, esophagus, and then the stomach, bag-like structure, then intestine, large and small, large intestine, last for the anus. So, the alimentary canal starts from mouth ends to anus, the opening of the rectum. Now, as I was talking to you about the salivary gland, I will take up a clipping of salivary gland. You see here this salivary gland. I told you there are 3 pairs of salivary gland. One towards the left side, another 3 in number towards the left side, another 3 in number towards the right side. What are those? They are parotid, submandibular or parotid, then submandibular and sublingual. These 3 pairs of salivary gland, one set comprising of 3, parotid, submaxillary or submandibular and then sublingual. Sublingual with the tongue, submandibular here at the mandibular part, and parotid just at the side of your ear. You can see here the ear. When you are taking some salty or sour substance, we get as if some watery secretion are coming from the side of our tongue. That is nothing but the parotid gland. This side and this side, both at the base of the tongue. Here, clusters of granular structure forming the parotid gland. In the clipping, you can see here, this is the parotid gland, then submandibular or submandibular gland or submaxillary here, and sublingual just beneath the tongue. So these 3 pairs, 1, 2, 3 this side, 1, 2, 3 this side. These are called salivary gland. What is the gland? Salivary gland. Salivary gland. So this salivary gland secretes a watery juice called saliva. This saliva, while food is being chewed properly, saliva mixes with the food and makes the food soft. Makes the food soft. This is, along with that, the salivary gland secretion called saliva contain a very useful enzyme called as salivary amylase, otherwise called amylase enzyme. Salivary amylase. Salivary amylase. This salivary enzyme helps for chemical digestion. So physical digestion takes place in the mouth cavity itself, and the process of chemical digestion also starts after ingestion. We are taking our digestion. The chemical digestion also starts at the mouth cavity itself. But what type of food will be digested chemically? The starch which is a complex form of carbohydrate. Mostly daily we are taking different form of carbohydrate food. Say for example chapati, bread you are taking, idli you are taking. These are all the complex carbohydrate food. We call it contains starch. This starch by means of this amylase enzyme. Amylase. This starch by means of this amylase enzyme will be broken down into a comparatively simple form called maltose. What is it? Maltose. If I boldly write it, maltose is a comparatively simple sugar, simplest form, no, if not simplest, simple form. Starch is a very complex form. It is polysaccharide, it is what you call as disaccharide. So partially the chemical process of digestion along with the physical digestion, chemical process of digestion takes place within the mouth cavity itself. Is that clear to you? Now, once the food is physically broken, mixes with saliva, forms a semi-solid paste. This paste is called bolus. What is it called? Bolus. Now, if I rub this part, this bolus now passes through a pipe, This pipe is called esophagus. Esophagus. Remember, esophagus otherwise called food pipe, otherwise called food pipe. This esophagus otherwise called food pipe, and another pipe what you call as windpipe run side by side through the neck, enter into the thoracic cavity. Both the pipes. So there is a chance whilst taking the food material from mouth cavity, trying to enter to the esophagus or food pipe, the same food particle by chance, unconscious state, can enter to the windpipe. In order to prevent the entry of food particle into the windpipe, otherwise a very serious hazard will occur. To prevent that hazard, the windpipe is the mouth of the windpipe, what we call as glottis, the mouth of the windpipe is covered by a thin flap of cartilage. This is called as epiglottis. Thereby preventing the entry of food into the windpipe, rather it directly enters into the food pipe, esophagus. Esophagus valve is just acting as the tube for passage of food. Where it will pass? From esophagus, where it will pass? It will pass to a bag-like structure. A very simplified diagram I am drawing for you. This bag-like structure from this to this is called as stomach. What is it called? Stomach. So the esophagus acts as a passage of food from mouth cavity or buccal cavity to the stomach. Now, the entry of food into the stomach is guided by a sphincter called gastroesophageal sphincter. What is it called? This entry of food into the stomach is guided by a sphincter which will control the movement of food in one direction. Generally, this is what we call as gastroesophageal sphincter. This is that clear to you? Now, while the food is passing through the esophagus, the muscles of the wall of the esophagus, where the food is there, the bolus is there, enlarges, that is forming a wavy type of movement. What is it? Wavy type of movement. Gradual constriction and dilation. Gradual, you can see it from my diagram, gradual contraction and gradual constriction and dilations are formed. This type of movement of the wavy movement of the esophageal wall, if I show the movement, wavy movement, this is called as peristaltic movement. What is called? Peristaltic movement, otherwise called peristalsis. Peristaltic movement. By the process of this peristaltic movement, the food is entering into the stomach. Stomach is having three parts: the fundic part, the otherwise called fundus, the pyloric part and the gastric part. So, the pyloric stomach is the end part of the stomach which is gradually becoming narrow and enters into the pyloric stomach enters into a U-shaped tubular structure. This is the first part of the small intestine. This is the first part of the small intestine called duodenum. What is it called? Duodenum. Duodenum. The juncture of pyloric stomach and duodenum is guided by sphincter, otherwise it is called as a valve, like rather to say a sphincter, gastropyloric sphincter, or simply called pyloric sphincter, which helps to allow the food in required quantity, not in bulk, into the duodenum. Duodenum is the first part of the small intestine. So small intestine starts from here. Remaining part I will draw after rubbing this part. By the time I will show you a clipping of this is, you can see here the food pipe, and the food is here in the bolus. Now where the food is there, it is dilated, it is now constricted part, gradually constriction, dilation or peristaltic movement through the esophagus. The food is entering into the stomach. Stomach is having first part, then the main body, and then this is the pyloric part. This is the pyloric sphincter. This part. You can notice my finger where I am doing. This is the pyloric sphincter. This one. Pyloric sphincter, which control the entry of food from the pyloric part of stomach into the small intestine's first part, that's called duodenum. Now, if I rub this part, now one thing be very clear. Sometimes you are confused where the stomach is, whether right side, left side, lower abdomen, upper abdomen. I tell you very clear. The stomach, if you touch your upper abdomen left side, this side, if I put my finger onto my left side upper abdomen, this is the part of the stomach, the bag-like structure. Stomach, if I show you separately, you go through my this clipping, Here, the stomach, the entry of esophagus to stomach, the fundic part of the stomach, then the cardiac part of the stomach, this entry part, cardiac stomach, and the pyloric stomach. Here, this is the sphincter again. I am showing the narrow white lining curvature, which is allowing a controlled movement of food particle to the duodenum. And inside, if you see the wall of stomach, it is having highly curvature. Helps for churning the food. If I cut a cross section through stomach, what will be the different part looking like? If I cut a cross section through stomach, the innermost part, which is having a wavy margin, which is having a wavy margin, covering the lumen of the stomach, or in an intestine also same component. This is called a mucosal layer. This is called as mucosal layer. Mucosal layer. Around the mucosal layer, there is a second layer called submucosal layer. Submucosal or submucosal. Then a third layer called layer of muscularis, or commonly called muscularis layer. Muscularis layer. And the fourth layer or the outermost layer is the serosal layer. Serosal layer. This one. Serosal layer. So the innermost layer covering the lumen is a mucosal layer. This layer is filled with glands called gastric gland. This secretes very important substance. What are the important substance? Secreted by the stomach wall, inner wall of the stomach. That is, so let me draw the diagram of stomach again. The bag-like structure. This is the pyloric part of the stomach. This one, this is the main fundus. Now, the inner wall having the full of glands, the gastric gland, which secrete very, very important things. Number one, HCl. Number two, mucus. And number three, enzymes, digestive enzymes. Mainly pepsinogen. Pepsinogen. What is the enzyme? Inactive pepsin. Inactive pepsin. That is pepsin enzyme in its inactive form. Now, what is the role of HCl? HCl is very, very important to increase the pH almost 1.8. That is acidic medium. Creates a acidic environment or medium. This acidic medium is very, very important. Why? Because some bacteria are also coming along with our food material, entering the stomach. This HCl helps to kill the bacteria. Number one. Number two, this HCl increases the acidity that is making the medium acidic. Why it is making the medium acidic? Which is very, very required, because the pepsin, the inactive pepsin, so secreted from the gland secretion, this pepsin remain in inactive form. This become active, inactive pepsin, otherwise called pepsinogen, which become active in presence of HCl to convert into active pepsin. Active pepsin. It is then this active pepsin helps to convert the protein molecule, protein food into peptone, a simplest form. Protein, which is a complex form of food, which gets converted into peptone, that is converted into simplest form, which is done by the active pepsin. So the physicochemical, this is the chemical part of digestion in the stomach. What type of food is getting digested? Basically it is the protein food is getting digested within the stomach. Apart from that, certain fat digesting enzymes in very, very minute quantity are also secreted from the gastric juice. That very fat digesting enzyme secreted from the gastric juice of the stomach is called gastric lipase. What is it called? Gastric lipase. Is it very clear? Food, when coming to the stomach, it is again churned, that is grinded within the stomach wall. Stomach wall is highly irregular, helps for proper grinding. That means physical digestion also takes place here. And then chemically, as I told you, inactive pepsin getting converted into active pepsin by HCl, and then help for breaking down of the protein into peptone, simpler form of protein. Complex protein to simpler form. In case of infant, casein, that we are not going to discuss because there is no much scope of discussion in your syllabus in detail. Now, what I tell you is, these, apart from these, another important thing I told you, the mucus is secreted within the stomach. This helps to protect the inner wall of the stomach. Otherwise, HCl will act upon the wall of stomach itself. The digestive juice will act upon the wall of stomach itself. In order to prevent the wall of stomach against digestion of the enzyme and against the harm created by the HCl, it is the mucus which forms a very fine membranous layer as a protective covering. As you see here, mucosal layer, protective covering, prevent the stomach wall against the digestion. Is that clear to you about stomach? Now we shall come to the next part of the human alimentary canal, where the final digestion, maximum digestion takes place. That is the small intestine. So let me rub this part so that I can proceed. Now, if I take only the pyloric part, this is the pyloric part. Now, pyloric stomach entering into duodenum. At the curvature of this duodenum, there is a very, very important gland, what you call pancreas. I will show you the clipping here. Pancreas. Yes, you can see the pancreas within the curvature of duodenum. This is the curvature of duodenum. Here the stomach will enter, the curvature of duodenum. See the leaf-like yellowish structure. This is nothing but a very important digestive gland called as pancreas. So here the pancreas resides. If I draw it here, set it like this. This is the pancreas. This is the pancreas. Resides in the curvature of the U shape part of the small intestine, first part of intestine called duodenum. This is what you call pancreas. A very important gland. Apart from pancreas, there is another very important and the biggest digestive gland. I will show you here the various type of digestive gland. Here you can see, yes, you can see here the various types of digestive gland I have taken. Here you see at this part almost this is what you call very simple way you can draw the diagram. Having two lobes, this is what you call the liver, having two lobes. Liver. And this is the pancreas. Now, the liver and the pancreas ultimately playing a very vital role in the process of digestion, as I show you in the previous clipping. This is a separate view of liver and pancreas I have shown you. Now, if you go through this pancreatic secretion and secretion from liver through a common duct open into this duodenum. Now, if I extend my diagram, this is now a highly coiled part of the duodenum, enter into highly coiled part of the latter part of the small intestine. This is what we call as jejunum. You can see the diagram here. This is the highly coiled part, this one. From duodenum it is coming. This highly coiled part is jejunum. Let me rub the stomach part. Jejunum. So, first part of the small intestine, that is duodenum. This is the duodenum. Second part, jejunum, and jejunum further, if I use some other color of chalk, jejunum further become very highly coiled structure. Very highly coiled structure. Within a narrow space, it accommodates itself. This highly coiled last part of small intestine, remember, last part of small intestine up to this. This is what we call as ileum. Then ileum opens into large intestine. Large intestine, the first part we call as cecum. You see here from the diagram, this is the cecum, the first part of the large intestine. The ileum is now entering into the cecum. So, if this is the ileum, This is the ileum. This is the ileum. Now it is opening into cecum. It is opening into cecum. See how the ileum is now opening into cecum. Cecum end part is having a lizard tail-like structure, what we call as appendix. So this is the lizard tail-like structure you see here. In the diagram is the appendix. Appendix. So this is the appendix. And this is the first part of the large intestine. This is the first part of the large intestine called cecum. Cecum. This is the first part of the large intestine called cecum. Shall I? Now the cecum ascend up, ascend up, ascend up. This is called colon, but what type of colon? This is called ascending colon. Ascending colon. This is called ascending colon. Here, yes, this is the ascending colon. Ascending colon. This is the descending colon. Ascending colon. Okay. So this is the ascending colon. Ascending colon. Ascending colon. This structure is the ascending colon. Then the ascending colon, if I little rub this part, ascending colon now form a structure like this. Very simple way you can draw, like my diagram as I have drawn you. It will take less time in your exam and you can easily draw. So this part of colon is called transverse colon. Transverse colon. And now this colon descend down. So this we can give a name descending colon. As you see here, descending colon, yes, somewhere transverse colon, and this is the descending colon. Actually this colon is descending down. So this is the descending colon. Here it is not labeled separately. This is the descending colon. So ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon. And the end part of the descending colon, if I little rub this part, the end part of descending colon become a highly muscular bag-like structure. This muscular bag-like structure we call rectum. This is the rectum here, the muscular bag-like structure. This is the rectum. So rectum ends to the last part of the alimentary canal called anus. Now what happened? When the food material is coming to the small intestine, the glands, that is Liver, the biggest digestive gland, present just below the diaphragm, U-shaped, dome-shaped structure at the upper abdomen, left side, just below the diaphragm, the biggest digestive gland, that is liver. Liver secretes a secretion called bile. What is it called? Liver secretes bile. So from liver secretes bile. This bile temporarily stored in a small bladder-like structure. If I use some other color, this is called gallbladder. This is what you call gallbladder. You can see the gallbladder here in diagram. Gallbladder. So this is this is gallbladder. 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 So this is the gallbladder. And if this is the pancreas. This is the pancreas. Let me rub a little pop out here. If this is the pancreas, once again I am drawing. This is the pancreas. So the pancreatic secretion entering into a duct called pancreatic duct. Pancreatic duct. This is the pancreatic duct. These two ducts commonly join. These two ducts commonly join. And now this joint or common duct, this duct is called hepatobiliary duct. Hepato comes from the term hepatos, means pancreas. Bile, that is the bile carrying duct from the gallbladder. So these two ducts meet with each other to form a common duct called hepatobiliary duct. Hepato, shall I rub and write here name hepatobiliary duct. This common duct carrying both bile secretion as well as pancreatic juice, the juice coming from the pancreas called pancreatic juice, and they are opening into where they are opening? Opening into duodenum. So duodenum is receiving the secretion from bile and secretion from pancreas. What is the function of bile? Bile. Now let me talk to you about the function of bile. Bile or bile juice contain bile salt. What does it contain? Bile salt. This bile salt helps for breaking down of bigger fat. This process we call emulsification. What is this process called? Emulsification. So the bile helps for the breakdown of bigger fat molecule into small globule, thereby increasing the surface area of the fat molecule, which will be easy for the digestion by the pancreatic juice. This is called emulsified globule, and the process we call emulsification, done by the bile salt. And bile helps for converting the acidic chyme. Acidic chyme is the acidic food which are coming and enter from the stomach and enter into the small intestine. helps to convert into slightly alkaline so that the bile salt can work upon it and convert into small pieces called emulsification. Now, pancreatic juice contain enzyme. So, pancreatic juice, let me rub this part now. So, pancreatic juice it contains enzyme for digestion of carbohydrate, contain the enzyme for digestion of fat and protein. The enzyme present in the pancreatic juice for the digestion of carbohydrate called as pancreatic amylase. What is it called? Pancreatic amylase. Amylase. Fat digestion, pancreatic lipase. And protein digesting enzyme trypsin. So these enzymes helps for the digestion of starch into maltose again. This helps for the digestion of lipase. The enzyme helps for the digestion of fat into fatty acid and glycerol. Protein digesting enzyme trypsin helps for the breaking down of peptone into simple form of peptide. Intestinal wall also contain digestive glands. Their secretion together we call succus entericus, which helps for conversion of final conversion of simplest form. That is, finally the intestinal gland breaks the food chemically and ultimately fat is getting converted into simplest form fatty acid and glycerol, protein to its simplest form called amino acid, and carbohydrate to glucose. Now this is the simplest form of three different types of food which we take. Once they are converted in this form, digestion is over, physical and chemical digestion. Then they will be absorbed. Who will absorb? Where it will be absorbed? The wall of small intestine having finger like this projections. These finger-like projections are called villi. What is it called? Villi. This finger-like projection helps for the absorption of the food. Along with the finger-like projection, the blood vessels are also, with this color I am drawing, the blood vessels are also running parallelly. Along with the villi, the blood vessels are also running parallelly. So the simplest form of food after digestion will be absorbed by the villi, and that is called absorption. Where it will be absorbed? It will be going to the blood, and ultimately the nutrient will be assimilated. That is the assimilation. Undigested food, as I told you, the last part of the large intestine called rectum where the undigested food will remain stored. It's a bag-like muscular structure, and when it is filled, time to time it will come out through anus. So this is a brief about the process of holozoic mode of nutrition in case of we human being. I hope I could give you a very clear concept. So you go through detail about whatever I told, and if any doubt we can discuss in our later class also, but by the time I believe that the way I have dealt with the topic, the things are very clear to you. Thank you.